Hello guys, this is Mike from McProgramming.org, and I wanted to show you how to use the PHP Artisan command line interface to make our programming much easier. So let's say that I wanted to generate a new controller that I'm just going to call example controller for right now because we haven't really gone over controllers and what they do. So I'm going to go into app HTTP controllers, and I'm going to create a new controller, and I'm going to call that example controller.php. Alright, and I need to create the PHP file, and I need to write all of this other code such as what it uses. So let me give an example of, here is the parent controller that we'd be extending, but I don't want to have to write out all of this stuff. So let's see how we can generate the controller from the PHP Artisan command line tool. Alright, so let's switch to our terminal, and I'm going to show you how to use PHP Artisan. So type that out first just to see if we can get a list of all these things, and if you don't have that list, go to Laravel.com and see what you can do to get this up and running, or just send me a message and I will try to guide you in the right direction. Let's look up here. We have make controller, we have make event, make a listener, make middleware, make model. We can seed our database. What else can we do? We can migrate our database. We can actually have a PHP development server. We can do Tinker, which makes us interact with our application after we've SSH'd into our VM. So we can mess around with the code a little bit. We can add data to the database. Migrate means we migrate our databases. Some of these other things that come in handy is the help command. That will be very useful when you don't understand how to use some of these things in here. So I'm going to go and I'm going to make a controller, but first I'm going to show you how to use the help command. Let's clear this out real quick, and I'm going to go PHP Artisan help make controller. And what this does is it shows us how to use this command. So it would be PHP Artisan make controller, and then we can throw in one of these options down here, and I'm going to throw in the plain option in our second go around to show you something, but I usually put the options at the end, and then we're going to have to name our controller. So that is the argument that has to be passed in for this to work. So let's clear that out. So let's say PHP Artisan make controller, and I want to call this example controller because I'm not doing anything other than just making an example. I'm going to do that. It says controller created successfully. So let's go back to Sublime Text and see that this has been put in place. And notice we have our namespace, we have everything that is being imported, we have our class example controller that extends controller, and we have a nice boilerplate of all the code we need. But this is a little bit too much for us right now, unless we're going to make a resource route, which I'll get into very soon. So we just want a plain example controller with nothing in it at this time. So let's go back, and I'm going to make an example 2 controller. So let's go back to our terminal, and I'm going to say PHP Artisan make controller example 2 controller, and I'm going to pass in plain. And that controller has been created successfully, so let's go back to Sublime Text and check it out. So example 2, and now we don't have any of that code inside there, so we have a plain controller to work with. So this gives us a lot of flexibility. And now we can go back to PHP Artisan command line, and we have all types of things we can do. And I'm going to show you every time that I can use this thing, I will. So you will see all of the benefits of using the PHP Artisan command line interface. And if you don't use it, it's really going to slow down your workflow. So I suggest you learn it, and it may take a minute to understand it fully, but once you get the hang of it, you're going to be rapidly programming these applications. So now in the next tutorial, we're finally going to start getting into some coding, and I'm going to show you the basics behind making a route and sending it to a controller and then sending it to the view and having the view display the data the way we want it to.